It's time for Mornings at 8 with Jonathan Mark on AM 1480 WLEA.
Well, yes, it is time for Mornings at 8, and here we are. It is 6 minutes after 8 o'clock on a Thursday morning. Thursday. That's right. Thursday is what? Thursday is practically Friday. One more little day, and there's the weekend, and yippee. Okay, well, now it really does seem like fall. I mean, it really seems like fall now. The trees are they're starting to look really beautiful. I mean, it's just gorgeous out there. And as you heard on Brian's news, the Maple City Fall Festival is coming up on Saturday. We'll have a little more on. Boy, there's going to be a lot going on there. Man, a bunch. But before that, this evening at 6:30. Yeah, this evening. Yeah, did you want to say something, Brian?
Yeah, I was talking to Mayor Buckley about that a fall festival. He says they're going to have a really big sound stage, and it's going to be quite a piece of work to put that up.
Apparently, yeah, this is really going to be big, and I think that's a great idea. There's nothing really going on. Let me see. What's going on? We have Halloween at the end of October. That's a long way off. Then, of course, it's Thanksgiving, and so, but right now there really isn't much going on. So this should be really good. Great idea. A little sooner than that, at 6:30 this evening at the Hornell City Republican headquarters at 121 Main Street, that's the corner of Main and Broadway, there will be a rally, a 2019 rally for the candidates. And it's free and open to the public, of course. Everybody's welcome. You can meet the GOP candidates for, let me see, I think all 10 city council seats are up for election. So you can meet the candidates for that, and there'll be other Republicans there. So it should be very, very nice. At 6:30 this evening, 121 Main Street, corner of Main and Broadway in Hornell, a rally for the Republican candidates. Okay, now, on Saturday, as you heard Brian there, man, this is going to be big, and this is the first one, and I hope it's the first of many, because this sounds like it's going to be a real big hit. And that'll be from noon until 11 o'clock on Saturday, the Maple City Fall Festival. There is so much that's going to be going on there. I mean, you have, crafts and vendors, live music, a pancake breakfast. That's right, a pancake breakfast 8 until noon. The farmer's market. Let me see, horse-drawn hay rides. What else? It's sponsored by the HPG, of course, Hornell Partners for Growth. Craft vendors. Face painting, a bounce house. That's all family-friendly fun. That's what we're talking about here. Carnival games. A lot of local organizations, local school clubs, nonprofits, churches. Hornell High School History Club is going to be there. Hornell Area Humane Society, the 4-H, St. Anne's Academy, United Methodist Church and Consuming Fire Ministries. Let me see, what else? The North Hornell Fire Department. The AMVET Riders, Post 245. And they're going to host a wine, cider, and craft beer tasting tent. That sounds like it should be very nice. That's right. Anyway, I mean, there's going to be a whole bunch going on there. And tomorrow is a setup day for that. So once again, that's going to be Saturday from noon until 11 o'clock. And that should be really nice. Just in time. Just in time. It feels like fall, and there's the Fall Festival. Hey. Okay, New York State. What's going on? Well, this was Governor Andrew Cuomo and Sandra Lee, his longtime girlfriend, have split. Now, it's his own personal business.
I just saw that on the Empire Report page.
Isn't that? It's more. Yeah, it's on the Empire Report page.
New York Post, they have a link to it.
The New York Post, I saw it on, where else did I see it this morning? It was like 3 or 4 places. But they've split after all this time. How do you like that? They were going together for 14 years. And Sandra Lee, of course, is a longtime Food Network host. So I've never heard of the Food Network. But anyway, so she's a host on the Food Network. Okay, fine. And they've split. How do you like that? And normally, I mean, if somebody, if you split up with your girlfriend, it's nobody's business, right? But he happens to be the governor of New York State, and so, it's news, right? He's a public figure. So they did issue a statement, a joint statement here, and it says, I will quote it, Over the recent past, we have realized that our lives have gone in different directions, and our romantic relationship has turned into a deep friendship. We will always be family and are fully supportive of each other and dedicated to the girls. Cuomo has 3 daughters from his marriage to, what was her name? Carrie Kennedy? Kerry Kennedy. That's right. So he has 3 daughters from that. Anyway, we're a family and are fully supportive of each other and dedicated to the girls. Our personal lives remain personal, and there will be no further comment. Good deal. Right. It's his own personal business, right? But still, it is kind of interesting that they were going together for a long time. I mean, a long time. So there you go. Cuomo, by the way, is 61 years old, and Lee is 53-year-old. They're 53 years old. So there you go, and they've broken up. As I said, normally it's nobody's business, but it happens to be headlines in a number of news sources this morning. So there you are. And speaking of New York, this is kind of neat. Upstate New York's Dr. Frank Winery on the west side of Keuka Lake has been named one of the top 100 wineries in the world. I'm not talking about New York State. This is in the world. Wow, how do you like that? Anyway, let me see. Dr. Constantine Frank, near Hammondsport on Keuka Lake, has been named one of the top 100 wineries in the world for 2019 by Wine and Spirits magazine. And Dr. Frank also made the top 100 in 2016 and is the only upstate New York winery on this year's Wine and Spirits list. Earlier this year, it was named one of America's 11 best wineries by Men's Journal. And get this, the Wine and Spirits magazine ranking is based on blind testings of wine from more than 11,000 wineries around the world. So 11,000 wineries from all over just all over the planet, you know. They blinded tastings of these wines were conducted by an expert panel assembled by the magazine. And but if you're in the top 100 out of 11,000 wineries, that's really saying something. Now, the winery was founded in 1962. It's one of the it's known for the pioneering work of its namesake, Dr. Constantine Frank. He was a Ukrainian immigrant who's credited as being the first winemaker to prove that classic European wine grape varieties could grow well in the harsh upstate New York climate. How do you like that? The top 100 out of 11,000 wineries. Man. Okay, and moving on here, we have... yes, sir. Where did I find this? And where did I find this? In a website called Metro, I think. Yeah, Metro. And I found this on the Empire Report website. State and local law enforcement officials are suing U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement for carrying out unlawful and unconstitutional, that's in quotes, civil immigration arrests in and around where? New York City courthouses. New York City, that's right. The lawsuit filed in Manhattan Federal Court by New York Attorney General Letitia James and Brooklyn District Attorney Eric Gonzalez claims the agency's practices, quote, impeding state court operations and keeping valuable witnesses from appearing in court due to a fear of being arrested. The lawsuit challenges the federal government's recent unlawful and unconstitutional policy authorizing civil immigration arrests in and around New York State courthouses, a policy that disrupts, allegedly, the effective functioning of our courts, deters victims and witnesses from assisting law enforcement and vindicating their rights, hinders criminal prosecution, and undermines public safety, reads the complaint filed yesterday. So apparently ICE has been doing this for quite some time. But apparently it's against the law to enforce federal law or something. At least that's the way they view it in New York City. I don't know. Anyway, so ICE is just carrying out federal law, but apparently you can't really do that in New York City because it's very bad. Okay, let me see. In issuing the directive, ICE failed to account for its harm to state judicial proceedings or to justify the marginal benefits of the directive against such harm, important factors that any rational decision maker should have considered, the document reads. And an ICE spokeswoman said that the courthouse arrests were a long-time practice and often the agency's only option. What's her name? Rachel Young Yao. Anyway, she says ICE's enforcement activities at courthouses are consistent with long-standing law enforcement practices nationwide. And courthouse arrests are often necessitated by the unwillingness of jurisdictions to cooperate with ICE in the transfer or custody of aliens from their prisons and jails. So, apparently it's against the law to enforce federal law in New York City. I don't know about that. But anyway, so that's that. Okay, what else? What else here? I got a whole bunch of stuff this morning. Man, oh man. This I found on Breitbart. And this is classic. There's a professor in New Zealand who has written a book on free speech. And the publisher who said it was going to publish the book has now said no. My book on free speech, he says, on free speech has been banned. Professor James Flynn, he teaches at a university in New Zealand, claims that his upcoming book on free speech was banned by his publisher due to its content. Okay, there's something a little basically wrong with that. According to a column published by Flynn, Emerald Press has decided against publishing Flynn's upcoming book in defense of free speech, the university as the censor, which makes the case that institutions of higher learning freely censor political expression. In June, Emerald Press sent Flynn a letter to notify him that they would not be publishing the book. In the letter, the publishing house said that they would not publish content that addresses the sensitive topics of race, religion, and gender. But he's writing about free speech here, right? Okay, so in this letter, it says, I am contacting you in regard to your manuscript in defense of free speech, the university as censor. Emerald believes that its publication, in particular in the United Kingdom, would raise serious concerns. By the nature of its subject matter, the work addresses sensitive topics of race, religion, and gender. The challenging manner in which you handle these topics as author, particularly at the beginning of the work, whilst no doubt editorially powerful, increases sensitivity and the risk of reaction and legal challenge. As a result, we have taken external legal advice on the contents of the manuscript and summarize our concerns below. So anyway, the letter goes on to make the case that the book would incite, quote, racial hatred and, quote, religious hatred in the United Kingdom. Emerald Press admits that Flynn has no intention of inciting hatred, but that intent doesn't matter anymore. The letter goes on to suggest that the book could potentially violate the United Kingdom's speech laws. Now, I don't know what kind of speech laws they have there, but that really kind of seems far out there. So he's writing about free speech, and he can't publish the book, or they won't publish the book, because it's, I think that's kind of strange. And let me see, Emerald, the publishing company went on, there are two main causes of concern for Emerald. Firstly, the work could be seen to incite racial hatred and stir up religious hatred under the United Kingdom law. Clearly, you have no intention of promoting racism, but the intent can be irrelevant. For example, one test is whether it is likely that racial hatred could be stirred up as a result of the work. This is a particular difficulty given modern means of digital media expression. The potential for circulation of the more controversial passages of the manuscript online without the wider intellectual context of the work as a whole and to a very broad audience in a matter beyond our control represents a material legal risk for Emerald. So they're not going to publish his book, and there you go. So, maybe this, I don't know. So what law would it violate in England? I don't know about English law. But the guy's reading about free speech and how it's banned in certain places. And then they banned his book talking about how free speech is banned. Okay, fine. Anyway, here we are. Insurance. Everybody needs insurance. That's right. You, me, everybody needs insurance. How about the Ryan agencies? They have 3 offices, of course. Very easy to find. Hornell, Jasper, and Wellsville. And there you go. They are your local independent insurance agency. You can save smart on your insurance with the Ryan agencies. So why choose the Ryan agencies? Well, let me see. They do the insurance shopping for you. It's like having your own personal insurance shopper. They have access to many insurance companies, not just one, so they can find the best rates for you. They're insurance experts. They offer unbiased advice, sound advice. They're friendly, they're local, and there you go. They are the Ryan agencies.
From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles, here's Eddie Garcia.
In Major League Baseball, we now have 8 teams that have clinched playoff spots. Before Wednesday, the Dodgers, Yankees, Astros, Braves, Cardinals, and Nationals were in. Now the Twins and Brewers have joined them. Minnesota wraps up the AL Central title with a 5-1 win over the Tigers. The Brewers clinch at least a wild card spot in the National League thanks to a 9-2 win over the Reds. The Nationals beat the Phillies 5-2, so Washington remains 1 game up on Milwaukee for the number 1 wild card spot in the National League. Cardinals lose to the Diamondbacks 9-7, so St. Louis's lead on Milwaukee for the top spot in the NL Central is down to a game and a half. The A's edge the Angels 3-2. Oakland remains a half game up on Tampa Bay for the number 1 wild card spot in the American League. The Rays shut out the Yankees 4-0 to sweep the series, and they move a game and a half up on Cleveland for the number 2 wildcard spot in the American League, with the Indians losing to the White Sox 8-3. News from the NFL, where LA Chargers holdout running back Melvin Gordon will reportedly return to the team on Thursday after missing the first 3 games of the season.
From the Fox Business Network, the U.S. and Japan have agreed on a limited trade deal, but it does not include cars. The deal does eliminate tariffs on farm, industrial, and agricultural products. U.S. Trade Representative Robert Lighthizer says it's not the administration's plan at this point to raise tariffs on autos from Japan. U.S. stocks closed higher after President Trump expressed optimism about a trade deal with China. Nike shares closed at a record after reporting a strong summer quarter. Peloton, the fitness company that sells exercise bikes with memberships to classes, is getting ready to launch its stock. Peloton priced its shares at $29, which values the company at more than $8 billion. The Dow was up 162 yesterday, the Nasdaq added 83, and the S&P was up 18. With the Fox Business Report, I'm Jenny Cosola.
Patrick was way behind on his IRS taxes.
I was in way over my head, just over $30,000. That's when I reached out to Optima Tax Relief.
And how'd it go?
I couldn't believe it. I had to ask like 2 or 3 times. I saved an incredible amount of money.
How does Patrick feel about Optima?
Couldn't be happier. Optima Tax Relief. They're the best in the business.
Call Optima Tax Relief for a free consultation. Call 800-410-6744. 800-410-6744.
Optima Tax Relief.
Today at Simmons Rockwell Hyundai. Drive away in a new Hyundai Tucson lease for only $229 a month. A new 2019 all-wheel drive Hyundai Tucson SE model equipped with 17-inch alloy wheels, touchscreen media, and rear view monitor. Lease with no money down for $229 a month for 36 months. Only tax and DMV fees are due at signing. Shop Simmons-Rockwell.com.
Okay, and we are back. This is from the Washington Post. You know, people who make drugs and take drugs and all that stuff, it's so sad. It really is. But this was a pregnant woman tested positive for amphetamines. However, she did not take amphetamines, nor had she ever. This is really strange. But this is a couple in Missouri. And they buy their first house in Jefferson County. So they plan to use one of the rooms for a nursery. And let me see, they plan to use one of the rooms for a nursery. And the lady takes a pregnancy test. And it turns out that they come back positive for amphetamines. And they're thinking, well, what happened here? I don't take amphetamines. You don't take amphetamines. Her husband. Nobody takes amphetamines. And she tested positive for amphetamines. So they began researching online and talking with their neighbors about the home. A testing kit they bought online revealed their house had unsafe levels of amphetamines. Their home, the couple soon found out, was on the Jefferson County 2013 list of meth lab seizures, according to the local news outlet. So concerned for the unborn daughter's welfare, The woman told the Washington Post that she and her husband are staying with their mother, or her mother, as their home undergoes an expensive remediation process, and that is likely to involve stripping the house right down to its studs. So they got to essentially tear the whole house down and then rebuild it. Now, Missouri's past as the methamphetamine bust capital of the country came back to haunt the couple. The experts stressed the importance of learning a home's history and the failing of laws across the country that stop such cases. A recent case study by the CDC of an Australian family of 5 that lived in a former meth lab found that each member experienced adverse health effects, but that the effects were most pronounced in the youngest child, who was 7 years old, including asthma-like symptoms, trouble sleeping, and behavior changes. So how do you like that? This couple did nothing wrong, had nothing to do with drugs, and she tests positive for amphetamines, and she's pregnant. Yeah. Well, there are people and there are people, and there are people who make meth, and there are really, really bad people out there. Okay, how about, let me see here. A Texas man divorced his wife without bothering to tell her about it. Figure, well, how do you do this? Well, the guy's 51 years old. He allegedly broke it off from his wife using forged documents behind her back, authorities claim. The guy's wife told investigators that the man filed for divorce and completed the entire proceedings without her knowledge or consent, and that the court had already completed all hearings and filed the final divorce decree. The guy lived in Harris County in Texas. Nixon, that's his last name, of Harris County, submitted several forged documents and false information to a district court, including a forged waiver of service and a forged signature from a notary public in an effort to divorce his wife. And I'm thinking, a notary, I don't quite know, but I believe a notary is supposed to verify you are who you say you are. I don't know how he managed to do that, but anyway, so it says his wife was very surprised to find that they had been divorced. In this particular case, the gentleman decided to go through a divorce, but the only problem is he left his wife out of the process. And that's a violation of law in Texas. Good deal. Anyway, so now the guy is charged with aggravated perjury. And he's in jail with no bail. Okay, there we go. So it divorces his wife and doesn't bother to tell her. There you go. That's a little detail, but it might be important. Okay, that's it for this morning's show, and I will see you tomorrow at 8:05. Bye.
Heating your home shouldn't come with surprises. At Countryside Propane, we always offer a fair price with exceptional service and no hidden fees. Call us today and take advantage of our new customer offer. Get your first tank fill for just $159.9 per gallon. Then lock in a low rate for the season. Maureen H. of Greenwood, New York writes, "You have no delivery charges. I pay one rate and have great customer service. Switch today and save. Call Countryside Propane at 607-527-3030.
News. I'm Chris Foster. We expect to hear more today about a whistleblower complaint against President Trump over his asking Ukraine's president to investigate Joe Biden. It's declassified